Hello everyone and welcome to part 13 of our F1 22 driver career mode here for Williams for the Chinese Grand Prix in Season 2, the third round of the season. Last time out in Australia, unfortunately it was an engine failure at our home Grand Prix, meaning for the first two seasons in a row now we have failed to finish our home Grand Prix and we'll have to look to do it in the third season. But heading into this round, we're 13th in the championship, still yet to score any points. Albon's still sitting on 1 point, and Verstappen and Leclerc actually equal on points heading into this third round. So it was interesting to see which of those two comes out on top after this race. In terms of the standings for performance there, Red Bull stay ahead of Ferrari. They pull a slight little gap. Alpine have pulled a little bit of a gap to the field. And we unfortunately flatline heading into this one. We don't bring any upgrades. Aston Martin bring a minor upgrade, and that brings them a little bit closer towards us. So the midfield is very close still between all of us. Mercedes still sort of sitting on their own in the middle, and then you've got Red Bull and Ferrari battling it out up the front. But this is our return to China here. Obviously not in the official calendar for the last few years, so it'll be interesting to see how we go around here. Haven't driven this track in quite a long time now, so yeah, anything could really happen heading into this round. It's certainly a track that I like. I think it produces good racing, so we'll see as we head to the grid rundown for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Sergio Perez, and Norris, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Ocon and Benjamin, Albon, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly and Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Sebastian Vettel and Nicholas Latifi, Magnussen and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So here we are on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix, lining up in P10. That is our best qualifying to date so far this season, and we're just ahead of our teammate Albon in 11th, once again showcasing that this Williams is definitely a mid-pack car, and even more so actually capable of some decent points if we're able to qualify here, and we're able to get points in previous races qualifying further down. So hopefully we can do that. In terms of actual other positions in the race, Sainz was actually on pole for Ferrari and Verstappen in second. Leclerc, remember, tied on points with Max Verstappen heading into this round, is down in P7. No penalties, just on legit pace. He qualified down in P7, and so he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to battle that Red Bull this Grand Prix and try and claw back some of those points. Sainz will be trying to prove himself the last 2 Grand Prix, the first 2 Grand Prix of the season. He's been in a good spot before having some sort of poor luck put him out of good points. But here we go to 5 red lights, and we are away for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's a good launch, and it's actually better than Esteban Ocon. We're going to be fully alongside him by the time we're into turn 1. We're actually going to be ahead of him before we head into turn 1, but we have to go slow to make sure we don't run up the back of his teammate as we head through the snail section for the first time, and Ocon's easily able to round us up around the outside. We're now on the inside of our teammate. We've got Ricciardo on our outside. We get pinched heading into turn 2, and I just have to back out of it there to make sure I don't get any damage. And so now we drop down to P12 after what was looking like a good start to get into P9. We end up losing positions now as we head down towards turn 4. Ricciardo lunges it, gets ahead of Albon, tries to get Fernando Alonso as well, but he's not quite able to do it. Ricciardo, interestingly enough, starting on the soft compound tyre, so it'll be interesting to see how that strategy works out for the McLaren. Potentially going to have to do a 2-stop this race, meanwhile we're all doing a 1-stop, so yeah, interesting to see if the pace of those softs is enough to outperform the 1-stop there. I doubt it, but you know, who knows? I guess that's what McLaren are going for there. But on the end of lap 1 here, here's Sergio Perez going for a move on George Russell. Mercedes did very well in qualifying, as you would have seen in the rundown there, locking out the second row. But Perez now trying to change that, and he's not quite able to. So Russell defends nicely from the Red Bull, but he's going to have to watch out because Perez, in that slightly quicker car than the Mercedes, will be hungry to try and get up towards where his teammate is. Sainz has held on to the lead of the Grand Prix as well, ahead of Verstappen. Meanwhile, further back, we've got a massive scrap between Tsunoda, Vettel, Schumacher, Magnussen, the 2 Alfa Romeos. Stroll is in this as well. All these guys battling away for what is P14 here in the Grand Prix. The 2 Haas cars going side by side through the snail section on to lap number 2, and Schumacher looking to get the move done on his teammate here. Is he going to be able to do it? He has to go down the inside of turn 2. Turn 3, he'll also have the outside. Same with turn 4. He's going to have to be real late on the brakes, not quite able to do it. Magnussen goes very deep, so he actually almost hit Sebastian Vettel, but he does keep it ahead of his teammate there. Ford is P16 and 17 for these guys. But here on lap 2, Gasly out, an engine blow up for that Red Bull powertrain. That could put the whole Red Bull team in a little bit of a nervous moment for them, because obviously running the same engines as their junior team here, and Gasly is out of the Chinese Grand Prix, dropping down to last place. But heading on now to lap number 3, we are right on the back of our teammate as we head down the straight. It'll be DRS for the first time this lap as we head down the massive long straight, a kilometre long I believe it is, here in China, as we get DRS enabled. He also has DRS on Ricciardo, which means that our DRS isn't as effective, but we're going to fake to the inside, look to the outside, faking our teammate into going for a defensive move, late on the brakes around the outside of turn 14. We're going to have the better exit with that wider line, use a bit of ERS inside for the final corner, and Albon backs out of it. We move up into P11. We are now outside of DRS for Daniel Ricciardo there, and Albon has DRS on us, but it's not enough to get the position back on us there on lap number 4. Looking through the grid though, we've got Carlos Sainz still leading the way by Max Verstappen, who's still within a second, so those guys may battle away for the lead. Then it's 2.5 seconds back to Hamilton and Russell in 3rd and 4th. They've still got Perez right behind them, hounding him for those positions. Lando Norris in the McLaren doing very well for himself. He's been doing well this season in that McLaren so far, in P6, just ahead of Charles Leclerc, still holding off that Ferrari. Surprise, Leclerc still where he started the Grand Prix, unable to move up any positions. So yeah, it just looks like maybe this track isn't clicking for Charles here in China. And then it's the two Alpines of Ocon and Alonso in 8th and 9th, and Daniel Ricciardo rounding out the points on those soft compound tyres, which haven't really worked for him either, you've got to say. He hasn't been overtaking people, he hasn't even been able to close up to his teammate, and he's lagging behind now. On lap 5, those softs will already be past their best, and here's us in P11 trying to chase him down, get back within that DRS range, and get ourselves into a points-paying position where we started the Grand Prix. We're still down on where we started, obviously, with Ricciardo. Obviously, the softs helped him out on the start there, and that's why he's ahead of us. But now we got to lap 6, and it's another Red Bull powertrain, this time Sergio Perez retiring from the Grand Prix. So it looks like an issue that is affecting the AlphaTauris and the Red Bull. So now Verstappen and Tsunoda will be a bit nervous heading into the rest of this Grand Prix for both Gasly and Perez to within just a few laps of each other, both their engines going off. Could be some very, very bad signs for those Red Bull teams. But up ahead, Lando Norris now under attack from Charles Leclerc. They're now in P5 and 6 with Perez out of the way. And Leclerc taking no time to attack Norris now that Norris doesn't have DRS with that Red Bull gone. Leclerc around the outside of turn 14, just like we did to Albon just a few laps ago, and Leclerc has it done before the last corner even. Norris backing out of it there, pulling back in behind the Ferrari, although Leclerc with a bad run. Could Norris potentially re-attack the Ferrari? Yes, he is. He's going to look to the outside of turn 1. Is Leclerc going to be able to hold on to the position here? They're going to go side by side into the snail section. Lando right out wide. There was almost a bit of contact between them. They're getting very close to each other. Norris keeps his nose in there for turn 2. Leclerc should have the better run. No, he has a bad run through turn 2, and that allows Lando back into P5. So Leclerc really struggling to find any sort of pace here. Norris doing very well for McLaren there. They're not even the fastest midfield car, but Norris is doing very well in that McLaren at the moment. Meanwhile, we're into P9 now, with obviously Perez retiring, giving us a free position, and Ricciardo now at the end of lap 6 there did come into the pit lane to get off those soft compound tyres. So it's a double points position for us here at Williams, with ourselves in 9th, Albon in P10. As we head on to lap number 11, Albon is very close to us. He's going to look to make a move as we run a little wide into turn 1 there. I just turned in a little bit too late. That allows our teammate up the inside of turn 1. We'll have the inside for turn 2, and we do for now hold the position over our teammate, but there is absolutely no favours being done between either of us here. Albon wants that extra point. If I finish in P9 now getting 2 points and Albon finishes in P10 getting 1 point, we'll be equal on 2 points each heading into round number 4, and Albon, I think, wants to show that he's the lead Williams driver for this season after how much better we were able to do in Season 1. But you can see here Leclerc once again attacking Lando Norris through Turn 1. He'll have the outside for Turn 2. This didn't work for him last time. He's done a bit better this time. He's had a better run out of Turn 2. He's fully alongside the McLaren. He's actually a nose ahead here as they head into Turn 3, into Turn 4. Norris will have to be late on the brakes and hold it around the outside here. Is he able to do it, or is Leclerc going to finally get the position off the young Brit there? Norris is doing very, very well in that McLaren to keep holding on for now. He's got the inside for the sweep, but they're going to go side by side. They are costing each other so much time, but Leclerc does eventually get the position. Some very bad camera angles here in China for some reason. Actually, I think Norris, I can't quite see. Norris has actually kept it alongside. I couldn't tell because for whatever reason, the game insisted on being on-board cameras there. But these guys for now, half a lap through from Turn 1 all the way now through to the back straight with DRS, pretty much the whole lap, really, if you think about it, if you get rid of the main back straight here. Those guys were side by side, but Leclerc does get the move done. Who's going to have DRS though? Is it going to be Charles or is it going to be Lando? By the looks of it, it's Lando. So Lando may be coming back for a move on the Ferrari here straight away. He does not want to let Charles Leclerc get away here into Turn 14. Now Norris will be looking to the outside around the hairpin. He'll have the better run, better exit out of the corner with some better traction on that outside line. He'll have the inside for the final corner, and he gets the move done. No, he doesn't. Leclerc holds around the outside. That's the first time we've seen that done in this Grand Prix, and Leclerc gets it done ahead of the McLaren. Neither of them actually using DRS there, so not too sure what happened then. But it is now time for us to come in for our pit stop at the end of lap number 12, heading on to lap 13. Those two guys, though, going absolutely hammer and tong for P5 and P6 here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Leclerc did, in the end, hold on to that position. But here we come now onto the hard compound tyre for what should be our one and only stop of the Grand Prix. Nice and quick stop, very nice, 2.4 seconds. Obviously, they can be quicker, but they can also be a lot slower, so you can't complain too much about that. And I will say, we did get a radio message just before pitting saying that Alonso had an issue with his car. So you can see here at the end of our outlap, lap 13 here, heading on to lap 14, we have closed in a lot to the Alpine, and also a lot of cars in the pit lane now, so we're going to move up the field as we pass all those cars in the pit lane. We're into P12, chasing down Alonso for P11. We're ahead of Albon, the undercut there, working out for us. We are over a second, so we're out of DRS range from our teammate, and just look how much we're closing up on Alonso through here. So I don't understand how he would have gotten any front wing damage. It certainly, you would think, is some sort of engine issue, but we closed in a whole bunch through that first now section corner there, and on lap 14 now, same lap, we closed in a bunch through the middle sector, and now we'll have DRS. You can just look how much we're closing in on the Alpine here as we head down towards Turn 14 for the hairpin. We're actually almost completely ahead. He comes back at us in the braking zone, but it should be a pretty simple move there. You can see pulling on completely clear ahead of him into the final corner, onto the racing line before we even get into the final corner. However, he will now have DRS, so he's going to be able to come back at us with that extra assistance. And yes, he is straight away in towards Turn 1. He'll go to the inside. We're going to try and hang it around the outside of the first corner onto lap number 15. Are we going to be able to hold the move on the Alpine? He gets it ahead for now. I'm going to keep it to the inside for Turn 2. He'll have the outside for the corner, which should give him a better exit. I'm going to try and deploy a little bit of ERS. I don't want to use too much because we are running low on batteries. We now head down towards Turn 4, trying to go late on the brakes. He locks up. We go for a beautiful textbook switch back there. What a move on the Alpine. He just sent it a bit too deep on the brakes. He's come back at us, though, into the sweeper. We hold on around the outside, into P9. Alonso down to P10. Albon now, within DRS range, is in P11. But that switchback was just so satisfying to pull off as we now head on to lap 18. It's Albon behind us, so he's now got ahead of Alonso, and he's straight away attacking us here into the hairpin. We pull back in behind our teammate into the braking zone there, and he locks up! He locks up now, and that allows us back through into P8. It even allows Alonso a little look, but in the end, he's not able to get the run that he wants. Albon attacking us into the final corner. He's to the inside. He gets the move done. He just had that much of a better exit there with that nice V-shape he was able to make when he locked up, but we now get back ahead with some DRS, and so a lot of battling going on between the two of us here. We should be working together, but I guess both of us really wanting to outscore the other and prove our worth to the top teams here in Formula 1 in our second season, and for now at least, we win out in that battle ahead of Albon, although we get a bit of a ball run. And look at the halo. It started raining here on lap 19, and this is not good news for us because I think I've said it before, but in these conditions when you're on slick tyres and it's starting to rain, it's damp, just look at that. I get a poor exit. The AI is so strong because they have coded in traction control to, obviously that's just the way that they are coded. They just sort of are perfect. They're able to perfectly control all of their inputs to the conditions, whereas obviously us as humans aren't able to do that. And so the AI is just insanely OP in these conditions. At least for now though, it is somewhat manageable. We've still got DRS to help us out, so we head into the hairpin here on lap number 20, running a little bit too wide, but that does still allow us to get the exit we need. Just no traction though on the throttle, and so that allows Albon to come back at us. He goes around our outside of the final corner, gets the move done, but we now have DRS, and so we're going to pull back ahead using the little bit of ERS that we have here to get back ahead of our teammate into turn 1. He pulls back in behind. Alonso goes for a move on Albon as well now, and so this is exactly why I said we should be working together, because now we're going to lose possible points positions to other cars around us when we should have been trying to use each other to pull away, sort of like what I did with Albon in Bahrain and just sat behind on the DRS, but Albon does not want any of that. And I sort of don't want to either. I've already had my turn of doing that in Bahrain. It's my turn to be ahead now, but Albon dives it to the inside of the hairpin on lap 21. I'm going to try and hold the outside. Again, I just don't have the traction though in these conditions, so Albon's able to hold it to the outside of the final corner. He does have to sort of back out of it through the last corner. He pulls back in behind us in the slipstream. He'll have DRS. Alonso, no, I think that's Ocon. Is it? I can't tell. It's one of the Alpines. We're all in a battle here. It is Alonso. Goes to the inside of Albon. Goes to our inside as well through turn 1. He gets the move done on our teammate. He's now on our inside through turn 1. He'll have the outside for turn 2, but we do pull ahead. But he's going to have the tighter line, and I'm just not able to have the grip that I need through turn 2. Running a little bit wide, and Alonso just straight through on us. I'm going to try and go for a move. I'm going to try and hold these guys off for as long as I possibly can. It's like fighting a losing battle, but I've got to give it my everything here. I don't want to lose a points-paying position in this Grand Prix just because of these silly conditions here, and we do hold it around the outside of the Alpine for now, although he has kept his nose there. He'll try and hold the outside for the next part of the sweeper, but he isn't quite able to do it, and that actually allows Albon to try and get the move done. And once again, the game giving us some ridiculous camera angles. That how am I meant to work with that? Alonso does get ahead of our teammate though, and for now at least, Albon's going to have to settle for P10, but just look how slow I'm having to drive now, and DRS is disabled here on lap 23, heading on to lap 24, and that's not good. DRS is really the only reason I've been able to keep up with these guys, using that to sort of make up for the pace that I'm losing through this section. Look how slow I'm having to go through turn 1 here. Alonso all over the back of me here, this entire train of cars now backing up behind us, just because I'm able to just keep myself ahead. But now, on lap 24, here comes Alonso. He doesn't have DRS, but he doesn't need it. He's got the slipstream. I'm running out of battery to defend with. You can see it down to 6%, just trying to turn it on and off to give myself any sort of little boost I can into the hairpin. I'm going to run wide, and Alonso is going to get the switch back, and he has the traction to make it stick. Gets the move done into P8, and I don't really know what I'm going to be able to do about that. You can see running wide again at the last corner. I just don't have the grip. Look, he's just gone out of the final corner. Meanwhile, further behind, these guys battling away. Magnussen in P11. These guys in the last position that it doesn't involve points. So once again, Haas just on the fringes, not quite able to get it done. Meanwhile, up ahead, Schumacher going for a move on Yuki Tsunoda for P12. He'll have the inside for turn 1. It'll be the outside for turn 2. This is exactly what Magnussen wants as well, to help him pull away from this train. Schumacher does get the move done on the AlphaTauri into P12, so it's now an 11-12 for Haas there, and they're going to be chasing us down to try and get these last couple points paying positions here. These guys still yet to score points this season. Yeah, I'm sure their main sponsor, McDonald's, will be very hungry to get those points in that team that they are sponsoring. But once again now, running wide through turn 1. This time, it's more because of the conditions are just almost undrivable. You can see how much I'm sliding around there, trying to get back in behind my teammate, trying to stay as close as possible, but I just can't get the traction. Look how close I am through turn 2, and now look how far behind I am as we head towards turn 3. That is how much slower we are in these conditions compared to the AI, and I've got through 2.5 laps pretty much, and Magnussen is within a second. He's right behind us. This is going to be the fight of our lives to try and score a single point, our first point of the season here. Even if DRS was enabled here, we're already outside of a second of our teammate Alonso, 4.5 seconds up the road. On the second to last lap now, though, through the final corner, you can see the track is visibly wet, but the AI and myself are just all too stubborn to come in because it is not worth it. You'll lose too much time coming into pit. And look at this. We are under major attack here from this entire train of cars as it's closed up on the final lap of the Grand Prix. The Haas cars, though, racing each other. They both want to be the car that gets the first point for the team of the season here. And this is going to be really good for us. This is going to allow us a little bit of breathing room here on this final lap. Schumacher wins out in that battle there ahead of Magnussen. And so it's going to be the German that's going to be attacking us for P10 unless Magnussen's able to get the move done somewhere else. But here we go now. Round the big long sweeper onto the straight. Schumacher is all over the back of us. I'm going to have to give it everything here. Holding off the Haas car. We pull over right to the inside. He has the slipstream though. He'll be deploying battery. He looks to the outside, pulls back in behind us. He'll now go to the inside for the hairpin. Schumacher dives it. I'm going to have to try and hold it around the outside. We do get it done. We get just enough traction to keep it ahead. In fact, Schumacher's had a horrible run, and so that means Magnussen's now going to attack him into the final corner. It won't be any points for Haas, but now it's just sort of for pride between them. But we somehow, luckily, a hard-fought battle, we get our first point of the season.
Another excellent win from Ferrari. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest? Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So here we are with the results for a crazy Chinese Grand Prix. Sainz does hold on to get the win in the end here in China and getting himself finally a good result in this season. He's been so quick all season, just terrible luck. And he finally gets himself a win and a fastest lap to go with it. Verstappen in P2. Leclerc only good enough to go P5 here. So that is a shocker for the man fighting for his second world title. Meanwhile, it's P9 for Albon to get himself 2 points. 10th for us to get our single point, our first point of the season. So it's 3 points for Albon, who sits P11 in the championship now, and 1 point for ourselves sitting P13 in the championship, the last of the point scorers so far in the championship. So, yeah, certainly, I'd say we're doing better this season than we were last season, with both of our cars very clearly capable of getting into the points, and it can only be up from here. Hopefully, we just got to make sure we keep bringing upgrades in terms of the constructors. We're sitting P7 on 4 points now, just 1 point off of AlphaTauri. Red Bull leading the way by 1 single point over Scuderia Ferrari. So very close between those guys in the drivers and constructors championships. And yeah, at least for us, P7, obviously very clearly fighting AlphaTauri by the looks of it, at least in the first half of this season. And every position in the constructors matters, obviously, because the higher up in the constructors you finish, the more money the team gets, and the more facilities the team will eventually be able to upgrade so that we can bring car upgrades to the car. So that's very important, even in driver career mode. But yeah, that's all for this video, guys. We're in Austria next for the Austrian Grand Prix for the first sprint round of the season. If you guys did enjoy this one and want to see more content like it in the future, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.